Hello, hello. Good evening, everyone. So I just wanted to pop in here because I have been getting so many amazing questions about midterm rentals and the insurance strategy specifically, because that's really what we specialize in. So I wanted to come in here because I have about, I want to say, a handful of questions that I have not answered yet. I did receive quite a few in the DMs, so wanted to come in here and say hello to everyone. I know that this is impromptu. I already see that we have a couple of people who have joined. This is our pop up for tonight. Wanted to just come in here and share with you some of the responses as to the questions that we've been getting for the past couple of weeks regarding the midterm rental strategy, specifically the insurance strategy, which is very different, guys. Very, very different from the other midterm rental strategies, which are your travel nurses, your government contracts, as well as your military families. Right, that's another midterm rental strategy. Now, what I love about midterm rental is that there are so many verticals associated with midterm rentals, right? And so I, again, if you know anything about me, it's all about how do I own and operate the fewest number of properties that generates the highest profitability. And part of that comes with really analyzing and really knowing my numbers before diving into the deal. And I got to tell you, it also means I do say no to quite a few deals, whether it's a deal that I'm purchasing or a deal where I am leveraging other strategies such as co-hosting or arbitrage. So if I'm going to be leveraging these other strategies, I am looking. At the numbers, I'm doing a lot of research. The tools that we use primarily are AirDNA, Data Rabu, and a few others to make sure that it makes sense. I want it to make sense. So let me get in here to make sure that I am live in all the places. If you are with me, please say hello because I want to make sure that I don't get into all of the juicy bits of information and no one's here with me. Let's see. Let me see. Okay, I see a few people who are live. Hello, hello, welcome everyone. So, what I'm talking about is the midterm rental strategy, specifically the insurance strategy, because I've been getting a lot of questions about it, and rightly so, guys. The reason I love midterm rentals, and I got to tell you, the midterm rental strategy is my favorite, and these are some of my absolute favorite guests. Knock on wood, to date, I have not had any negative experience with these guests as of yet. So for me, it's just been a wonderful way to maximize our profit and minimize the hustle. And that's my story, and I'm going to stick to it. As you all know, for those of you who are new to me, my name is Dr. Rachel Gainsborough. I am a luxury short-term rental investor, and I invest primarily in single family homes, a little bit on the larger side, so that I can generate a more profitable spread when it comes to my nightly rates. So we're able to kind of increase our nightly rates primarily because we're hosting multi generational multifamily. So, say, my husband and I, his siblings and their spouses, grandma, grandpa, like four or five family units within that one booking. Well, when you split that risk across those four or five, guess what? $1,000 nightly rate is not so bad, right? But if it's like a single individual, of course, it's going to be taxing. And so we love that strategy because it allows us the opportunity to host families like ourselves, larger families, and kind of curate and create a stay for them. But back in 2020, we had set up this one property for this type of guest avatar. Specifically, we're looking to cater to those who are coming into the South Atlanta area for filming, like families that are coming in. We actually had some Marvel families that came in, and we said, okay, let's set up another property similar to this property. And lo and behold, we received an inquiry for our very first midterm rental guest. And we have been hosting these guests for 2 years ever since then. And I got to tell you, it has been amazing. It's just been so amazing and so profitable because we're able to generate close to a short-term rental revenue rate for a midterm rental. These are guests who are staying with us for greater than 30 days. Okay. So what that means is we're getting, 3x, 4x, 5x the long-term rental revenue for a guest that behaves like a long-term guest, right? So that is absolutely awesome. And again, that's what I mean when I say we're minimizing the hustle and maximizing our profitability. Now, here's the deal. Initially, when I was doing the negotiations, we accepted some rock bottom prices because we didn't know any better, right? Until we understood really who was paying for these reservations, as well as what the true budget was, like what the actual ceiling to that budget was. And I got to tell you, yeah, we got a really big wake up call when we came to understand that. And so, because of that, I have been sharing, my experiences with as many people as possible, especially those who are busy professionals in the healthcare world. You spend all day hustling, and so you don't want to necessarily hustle in your side hustle as well. And so my experience serving insurance policy holder guests has been just absolutely amazing. And it took me down a rabbit hole, really, guys, where I started to research, well, how do I gain more of these guests? How do I connect with more of them? What are the premiums in different markets? How are they determined? What is the budget? How much can they really pay? I did extensive research, and I've actually interviewed quite a few of these temporary housing agencies that are responsible for locking up essentially these property contracts for their homeowners that are displaced from their home. And so these are individuals who are displaced from their homes due to some type of, unfortunately, some type of catastrophe, oftentimes, right? It could be something as simple as a pipe that bursted, and so all of the floors have to be removed and replaced, as well as the plumbing, all of that. Or it could be something like as dangerous as a fire. So we've hosted multiple homeowners who have suffered fires in their homes, and as you all see, that there are so many different things happening with the climate. And so we've seen hurricanes, we've seen nor'easters, we've seen all types of weather anomalies that cause individuals to be displaced from their homes. And so essentially, this strategy, the midterm rental insurance policyholder strategy, is where when these individuals are placed, are out of their homes are deemed inhabitable. There is a coverage inside of their insurance called Coverage D, where they're able to leverage a temporary place to stay. Okay. And the temporary place to stay needs to be similar to their current lifestyle or their current living situation. And so a lot of our homes qualify for that, even if it's in a higher cost of living area, and say they have an 11 bedroom, like Mac Daddy home, and say ours is like a 5 or 6 bedroom. Well, we have hosted those guests because there aren't many alternatives to that type of property. Okay. So feel free, guys. I just wanted to, again, come in here, answer some of the questions we received um, in the DMs, but I just wanted to give a heads up on what we're talking about tonight, real quick, before I head down for some family time. So, okay, hello. Okay, so I'm seeing a few people. I'm not sure. Guys, can you tell me, am I live on Instagram? Okay, I see a hello from Ohio. Hey there from Ohio. Would you mind? Let me see. Let me see if I can show it. Awesome. So there's let's see. Boom. Okay. If you can go to chat.restream.io/Facebook for me, hello from Ohio, I would so appreciate it, because what will happen is I'll then see your name, but right now all I'm seeing is Facebook user hello from Ohio. And I want to see who the Facebook user is, you know? Okay. So awesome, awesome. Okay, so thank you. There's someone who just responded that I am live on Instagram, I think. Hello from Wisconsin. Hey there from Wisconsin. If you would also please do me a favor, and I have this little thing at the bottom here by my ticker that says chat.restream.io/Facebook. If you can go there for me, please, and give it permissions because I want to see your names. If you don't mind, I would love to know who's talking to me so that I can say hello, right? Okay, that's awesome. I'm so glad that you guys are seeing that I'm live. For whatever reason, I'm not seeing that I'm live, which is strange. And I feel like it's always a a mystery to me. So I have all kinds of trust issues right now. So guys, if I'm on Instagram, would you mind letting me know that I'm live on Insta as well? For those of you who are on Instagram, I feel like I need to like go into Instagram in incognito mode to see whether or not I'm live that way, but I don't know. I just don't know how to do all of that stuff. And since I didn't really tell my team I was going live, they're not here to provide me all the support. Okay. So, guys, that's neither here nor there. So, guys, let me know. For those of you who are here with me, feel free to let me know what questions you have at this time. I'm just super excited to have you. Okay. So, let me pop in here. I'm going to go into my messenger to see a few of the questions. Okay. Okay, so this is a great one. This is more of a comment and a question. This individual says, we have an MTR. We have lots of different professionals represented, but so far no insurance inquiry. I'd like to know how to attract them. That is such a great question. I love that question because when it comes to having a midterm rental that caters to a travel nurse versus one that will cater to a family for a midterm rental, it's going to be a different avatar with different needs. So think of it this way. A travel nurse is oftentimes traveling by themselves. Rarely do they travel with a large group. And I love travel nurses. My sister's a travel nurse, but they're also very economical and they're looking for things that are cost effective, right? So you got to think of it this way. When you are hosting a travel nurse, they're looking for a private individual, say a guest house or a single bedroom type of apartment, something along those lines, right? They're not really looking for, a larger 3 or 4 bedroom home. So these are two starkly different avatars. An individual who is looking for just a place to stay while they have a work contract, right? Those types of professionals versus a family who is displaced from their home due to a fire, due to a fallen tree. There's so many reasons why an individual can be displaced from their homes. The home is deemed inhabitable, right? And so one of the key indicators for me, honestly, has been the property itself. How does your property stand out from other properties that are out there that would cater more to like the travel nurse or the travel professor or the military individual who is in the area? How does that property kind of differentiate itself, so to speak? So, one of the ways, honestly, is due to the size. And it sounds simple, but it's something that I think gets missed oftentimes. A lot of people who talk to me and they say, hey, I have this condo, and how do I attract midterm rental insurance policy holders to my studio condo or to my 1 bedroom condo? And so understanding the entire life cycle or the workflow of the midterm rental avatar is going to be really important because here's the deal. Let's say a fire just occurred, right, to someone's property, and they are going to be displaced because it's inhabitable. Well, the next thing is, and I want you all to understand this, is they're first going to be placed in a hotel for a few days. Okay. So when they're in the hotel, Oh, yay. Holly, I see your username. Awesome. It worked. Okay, I'm going to take a sip of water while Holly tells me, are you from Wisconsin? Are you from New York? Or are you from Ohio? Okay. She gave a thumbs up. That's awesome. All right. So, yes, I digress. So, as I was saying, Ohio. Okay, awesome. Holly, thank you. Thank you. So, Holly did it right, everyone. Go to chat.restream.io/Facebook, and it should ask you for permission to share your name. I just want to see who's here with me so that I can say hello. But let me go through real quick the life cycle. So here's the whole cycle. They first go into a hotel because the temporary housing agency will need to be activated by their insurance. Say their insurance is Allstate, say it's State Farm, say it's Travelers, you know. So the insurance is notified, the adjuster is notified, then they reach out to their temporary housing agency provider. Okay. There are a lot of temporary housing agency providers that are local to an area, and then there are national ones as well. And I think I'm going to sneeze. I feel like I'm going to sneeze. I'm going to sneeze. Hang on. Okay, I sneeze. All right, thank you guys for your patience. All right, so the number one temporary housing agency in North America is the one that we work with first and foremost and directly because they're number one and they are responsible for over 60% of the assignments. So ALE Solutions is their name. That's one of the number one ways to market your properties so that it can go into their database. You go and you enter your property into their database. So this is just an amazing strategy. If you have a short-term rental or if you have a midterm rental or if you're in a market where, you know, the elephant in the room is that regulatory restraints and regulatory constraints are happening again and again and again, right? And so we want to make sure that you are leveraging all of your options when it comes to getting your property booked to the capacity that you're comfortable with. Okay. So, yeah, placing your property on a site like ALE Solutions is one of the best ways to market your property. But let's continue. Let's continue with the process. Okay, so ALE Solutions is then activated, or a local insurance temporary housing agency is activated, and the next step is that temporary housing agency is going to oftentimes place the family in a hotel for a couple of nights as they reach out to all of their resources in their database in that particular area for a house for this family. Or, and I keep saying family, and I'll tell you why. So when they reach out, if it is a smaller family or a single gentleman or a single lady, single individual that requires like a loft or a one bedroom or a two bedroom, oftentimes they work with their apartment partners, like the larger REITs. I don't know if you guys know what a REIT is. It's like those big chain apartments. So they have partnerships with them, right? And also they have partnerships with furniture companies, like rental furniture companies throughout. So they have those relationships, and within a day or two, they can stand up a property, fully furnish it, and get it ready because of those relationships, right? So, say it's, you know, an individual who does not require anything special, doesn't have pets, and it's just them, and maybe it's a couple or something like that that only requires a space with one or two bedrooms or less. They will place them in an apartment. However, say it's a family that requires um, three bedrooms, five bedrooms, six bedrooms, right? Guess what? The apartments would not be able to adequately accommodate those individuals. So place yourself where you're not competing with these huge REITs. I don't want you competing with these huge apartments, you know? And so that's why I reference all the time. I say families because, again, I want to cater to the larger families because that's where the profits lies. the profits are in that specific niche. And so I'm able to set myself apart in a lot of these markets because I'm able to not compete with, say, apartments or condos or anything that is at that size. You're not going to find a 3 bedroom apartment often, or a 4 bedroom apartment often that is vacant or available. It's typically a home that they're looking for. And so I hope that answers your question. Oh no, I don't have a name here, but I hope it answers your question. All right. So next question. Interested, but we have a very large 2 bedroom apartment and a large studio, both fully furnished and supplied for living, but not huge houses. Okay, so this is exactly in line. You guys are asking the right questions already, which is absolutely amazing. Guys, keep the questions coming. I'm absolutely loving this. So if you have a large 2 bedroom, and a large studio, there's nothing wrong with placing those properties on all of the listing sites for the temporary housing agencies and the insurance companies. But I will tell you that there's going to be steep competition. So make sure that you're able to accommodate some type of special need that the guests may have that the apartments may not be able to cater. For instance, if there's not a lot of pet friendly options, I would make sure that I'm pet friendly, or if there's accessibility issues, it would be ideal to have accessibility. And so those are some of the things that um, really stand out for individuals who are looking for temporary housing, as well as the insurance companies. All right, so this next question says, I'm having a hard time finding these guests. Yes, I love these questions, guys. Okay, they've placed their site on Zillow and Furnish Finder and contacted local insurance agencies and have had no luck. Oh my goodness, I absolutely love this question. So here's the deal. I'm gonna take another sip of water. I wish I had a straw with me. Hang on. Okay, so here's the deal. I will say that we have not really, now that I think of it, I don't think we've ever been we've never received a booking from a local insurance agent, despite the fact that we have made connections with them. We have never received a booking from a local insurance agent. So I don't want to say that, excuse me, that's not possible, but I just really want, I'm more of a, how do we how do we leverage our time in the best way possible and and not waste it. I wouldn't go around looking to work with local insurance agents. It hasn't panned out for us. Doesn't mean it won't pan out for you, but it just hasn't panned out for us. I want your return on your time investment to be worthy of the time that you put in there. But again, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, uh, not only listing it for those sites like ALE Solutions, like I mentioned, but having a property that is different enough from their partners in the REIT is going to be really what sets you apart. Really, what sets you apart, because we get contacted pretty often. As a matter of fact, we were contacted a couple of weeks ago, and we didn't have any occupancy. All of our properties were booked, and then we went ahead and we launched another one earlier this week. And so we're looking to host that family in our property. So they placed them somewhere temporarily. And so they're going to be joining us. We'll have the opportunity to host them on the 21st. And so the inquiries are out there. Of course, this is investing, right? There's no guarantee where your guests are going to come from. So that's absolutely why I love this strategy. And I love to mix it with short term rental strategy for the in between times if we're looking to get our places booked as well. All right, so let's see. I'm looking at this next question. One second, guys. And I received quite a few on Facebook as well. I'm going to see if I can grab those. But guys, feel free to answer or ask your question in the chat. I see several of you guys here. Let me see who's here. Do we have anyone from LinkedIn? Okay. It just says streaming, but it doesn't tell me where everyone is. So, guys, again, I'm here just for a few minutes looking to answer some questions regarding midterm rentals. Who here with us tonight? Who here is hosting midterm rentals right now using the insurance policyholder strategy? I know that there are midterm rentals for travel nurses. That's definitely a great strategy. We don't use that strategy. However, what about for travel for temporary housing for individuals who are displaced from their homes due to some type of disaster? Is anyone using this specific strategy? Feel free to say yes in the comments. Okay, I see a few people have joined us. Hello from St. Petersburg. Hey there from Pura Vida, Costa Rica. Okay, so I'm waiting for some responses. Let's see. Okay, I'm live on YouTube as well. All right, awesome. All right, so guys, so let me go ahead and continue. So there are definitely differences between working with this avatar, midterm rentals, and the insurance policyholder strategy, and there's a difference with working with short-term rentals, of course, and there are pros and cons to each, but I tell you the pros do outweigh the cons. So with the midterm rental guests, especially the insurance guests, I absolutely love them because typically they will book for 30 days. The insurance will come at you and request that they get a 30-day booking, right? And so once they book with you for 30 days, you are looking to make sure that the guest is comfortable in that space. And we all know that when there's a fire or when there's a flood, it's not going to be a 30-day stay. I mean, obviously, right? With supply chain as well as finding contractors that show up. We're in the process of building a house. So I got to tell you, finding contractors that show up is a feat in and of itself. So if the guest is booking for 30 days or the insurance is booking for 30 days, expect extensions to occur. And once the extensions occur, what's great about this is your opportunity to get direct bookings for the following bookings. And direct bookings are amazing because you can generate 20 to 30% more on direct bookings without charging more, right? Because there are a lot of fees associated with hosting on OTA. So I absolutely, absolutely love that about midterm rentals. Imagine you get a booking for, 30 days, they extend for another 10 months. 10 months, no lie. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I mean when I say, higher profits without all of the hustle, right? Because 2023 is the year that I hope our community ditches the hustle culture. We do not want to hustle and grind. We want to generate revenue, serve others, and we want to make it with ease. Okay. So that is the goal for this year. And so I absolutely love that strategy. You're able to squeeze out even more juice out of this property, which is absolutely awesome. And I am here for it all day. And so I love, love, love working with this guest. But I will tell you, there are some tricky things that occur in the very beginning. So very, very dicey in the beginning because you're being contacted by the guest as well as you're being contacted by the insurance. And it could be a little bit of a high touch situation in the very beginning. But once they're with you, it is as close to passive income as you can get hosting an individual in your home, which I think is absolutely, absolutely, absolutely amazing. And I can't tell you how much I love this guest avatar. They're my absolute favorite. And let's see here. I see I have a couple more questions. One second, guys. Tia, welcome, Tia. I don't think we've met. Tia says, so an ideal property would be a 3 or 4 bedroom. What else would be a good property if there's anything typical outside of a normal area? Oh my gosh, that is such a great question, Tia. Yes, you're absolutely right. The property itself is oh so very important. And ideally, I would say a 3+ bedroom. So here's another thing to consider. And what's interesting is These are homes, like, we do have luxury homes in the space. We have upscale homes, we have luxury as well as ultra luxury. But when it comes to these types of homes, what's interesting is you're able to leverage a home that is, just a standard, a simple home, and without really having to break the bank. Okay. So that's what I love about this. So our homes that do really well are in a suburban area. That's something as well that I've been talking to the members inside of our workshop. We have a midterm rental exclusive workshop as well. And so the members inside of there, I was telling them about the types of schools, about the types of neighborhoods where this is going to thrive well. So it's going to be specific to the home, like you said, as well as the area. Okay. The area, you want it to meet certain cost of living requirements, just get a good average of that because that's going to determine also your profitability. There's a way to calculate that, and I actually created a calculator just for that and placed it inside of the workshop for our members. So the type of home is very it is important as well. I'm not gonna say it's the end all be all, but the type of home is important as well, especially if you're looking to generate a good amount of revenue using this strategy. Another thing that you want to take into consideration is imagine yourself like going to a short-term rental for a couple of days or living in a place. So think of it this way, these are guests who are actually living in the home. They are not going to be eating out every night typically. They're actually going to be living there. Okay? So it's going to be really important to cater to cater to that fact. You want to make sure that the house is set up so that they could actually live in there and do what you would do if you're in a residential home. So say you in your short-term rental you had like one pan or one of this or one of that or something that's not as functional because they're there in and out one day. They're not going to make a whole Thanksgiving casserole. They're not going to do all the things. But when it comes to the midterm rental guests, they're going to be living there. So anything that you say that you offer, you want to make sure they're in tip-top condition so that it can be usable, and be mindful of that. Be mindful that you're adding quality cooking tools, and we have a list inside for our members of the types of things that we add to our midterm rentals to make sure that the guests feel like what they're in their home. You want them to feel at home. Make them feel at home. That is the ultimate goal, and that is how we set up the property. So outside of it being 3+ bedroom, think about what it takes to make the property into a home. And I look forward to actually talking a little bit more about this next week at our masterclass. We're actually holding a masterclass next week on Thursday at let's see the time. I don't know why I don't have the time off the top of my head. Okay, let's see. There it is. It's Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern. Okay. So I will go over really the whole snapshot of the workflow because there's a step-by-step workflow. And for those of you who have not received midterm rental guests and you have a property that qualifies and is ideal for this type of guest, I'm going to share with you exactly how to market to those types of temporary housing agency, or what it takes to really to understand what to do in order to market yourself and put yourself out there to make sure that you're getting some of that visibility. However, I have seen those who have received inquiries, and this is something that I know that we love to use the internet and Dr. Google, but I've seen many who have received an inquiry for their midterm rental. They haven't been able to secure the deal because they don't have the full framework. Either they overshoot with the price or completely undershoot. They don't know what to expect, or they may not receive a booking or an inquiry because their calendar is not managed in such a way that they're visible. Visibility is key, that they're visible to those who are searching. So very important to understand what it is that you can do to make yourself visible. Okay. How to manage your calendar. What are some hacks that we use to make sure that those 30 night stays are bright and open in order to get those bookings? So those are some of the things that we're going to be discussing next week in the master class. And I would love to invite each and every one of you guys to the master class next week as well, where we'll be talking about serving, insurance policyholder guests. And that is one of the ways I believe you could leverage to recession proof your short-term rentals. All right, so let's see. I have a few more questions. Okay, so I responded to T already. All right, I have one that says Facebook user. Okay, well, STR strict vacation market like Smoky Broken Bowl work for the MTR strategy? It can certainly work for the MTR strategy in those markets, especially if those markets are facing some type of um disaster. Remember when the Smokies, when there was a fire, I think it was last year actually, or if there's a hurricane, it can serve as a strategy for sure. But here's what I would caution you with. The caution that I have is that unfortunately, if other homes are impacted, oftentimes your home may be impacted as well. If God willing yours is okay, you can still host, of course, and that's what I would hope for, that yours would be okay. But unfortunately, a lot of these disasters, depending on the level, can be quite catastrophic and devastating to multiple properties. But I would say I would not exclude any property from being leveraged as a midterm rental. I would set it up that way, uh, and go through the process of making sure it is ready to go, and just list it. List it with the temporary housing agencies, and list it with the national as well as the local agencies, and see what happens. But those markets that are STR, there's strict STR markets. I would say that the STR strategy is going to be the number one strategy. The midterm rental strategy can be a backup strategy, but I wouldn't go into a deal in those markets thinking, you know what, I'm going to use midterm rental on this actual property. I wouldn't underwrite that, if that makes sense. I hope that helps. Okay, so how do I find those clients who are displaced due to fire, flood, or disasters? That is a great question. So I just got this question from Facebook user, and I don't see your name. So if you wouldn't mind doing what I have here, placing chat.restream.io. Yeah. If you wouldn't mind doing that, I would appreciate it. And that way I can see your name and see who I'm speaking with. Because I want to see who I'm speaking with. I hope that's okay. You as well, Facebook user in the Smokies and Broken Bow. All right. So this question, okay, is about clients who are displaced due to fire and disasters. Yes. So again, those clients, the best way to find them is to make sure that the property is the right type of property, and make sure that the property is set up for midterm rental guests. And so again, what I have seen is many people have lost the opportunity to lock down these contracts. And these contracts are worth tens of thousands of dollars, guys. I kid you not. On the masterclass next week, I'm going to be sharing receipts to show you the revenue that is generated for me, as well as members inside of our workshop community. It is so lucrative, but you have to lock it down. Many of you go in and you don't necessarily understand the nuances, the differences between a midterm rental and a short term rental. And so, some of the things that we hold near and dear to us in our short term rental mind is not applicable to midterm rentals. So, I would love to know how many of you have tried to lock one of these contracts and have not been able to. Let me know. Let me know in the comments or let me know in my DMs. Yep, I see a couple in my DMs. Exactly. And so it is a step by step framework and a way to submit your proposal, your counter proposal, to submit the lease, to make sure the lease is executed upon. Like I said, there are a few steps on the front end, but then honestly, for months up to a year, you are sitting pretty. Once they move in, it's pretty much hand off, which is absolutely awesome. But you have to get it right. You have to get it right in the very, very, very beginning. Okay. All right. So the next question is, would MTRs be treated like long term rentals for tax purposes? Yes, they would be treated like long term rentals. Well, you know what? I'm not going to answer that question here. And here's why. My attorneys would crush me if I'm giving tax advice. So I would say speak to your tax advisor. But let me tell you what I do. What I do is whenever we lock down a short term rental property, we leverage it as a short term rental for year one so that we can get our bonus depreciation and material participation and accelerate that bad boy. And then year two, we're all in on midterm rentals. Okay. So that's what we do because I believe my thoughts are is that it is considered a long term rental, but I am not going to speak to that because I am not a tax professional. I don't think that was, I was going to say, I hope that helps, but I don't think that was helpful. But my humble apologies. All right. Is the masterclass going to be different than the entry level workshop that you have for? No, it's not going to be much different. So if you already have the entry level workshop, the intro, it's going to be the same as the intro. Now, if you are looking for all of the templates that I use, the offer, the counter offer, the leases, all of my intellectual property that is in the workshop. You know, when I go into identifying the avatar, the policy holder versus the insurance representative. I have an entire script on how to speak with each of them so that once you get that inquiry, you can lock it down and not fumble the bag. I don't want you fumbling the bag. My notice to vacate, I have my notice to exit examples, the forms, W-9 form template, the ACH, the contract that we use with these temporary housing agency, all of those plus the marketing, the email marketing and the swipe files that we use for these contracts. Yeah, so that's the full thing. So if you've already done the intro, I wouldn't suggest that you do the workshop. If you're really looking to go all in on this, I would suggest, if you've already done the intro, I wouldn't suggest that you do the master class. You may want to look at doing the workshop, which has all of the templates. All right, I hope that helps. All right, next question. But thank you for the question. Thanks, Tia. Okay, it says, do you have to make them sign a lease if they were long-term renters? Well, we're talking about midterm rentals. So I don't do long-term rentals technically. I'm doing midterm rentals. So yes, they sign a lease. And so that's part of the workshop. Okay. Do you still have cleaners come and clean while your MTR clients are living there? Yes, we do. We do. And it depends on the scheduling, but we typically like to clean about twice a month, once or twice a month. Because again, remember, the place is going to be lived in, right? The place is going to be lived in. And once they exit, there's going to be more wear and tear on the property than there would be with just a guest that was staying there for 2 days. So to limit and to minimize that, we do have mid-stay cleans or multiple stay cleans. So I think that's very, very important. That's a great way to preserve your asset and your property. Okay. All right. Are these properties located near a hospital? Level one? No, no hospitals. Not necessarily. They may be near a hospital, but Facebook user, we do not cater to traveling professionals. So we do not take into consideration where or if there are hospitals in the area. So I hope that that's clear. How far from a hospital? No hospitals. What are the factors besides just the number of bedrooms? So yeah, so I mentioned a little bit earlier the setup of the property to make sure that they can be set up in a way that people can live there. Okay, not just visit, but actually live there. Has all the things. Okay, some of these individuals are coming to you and their homes were burned down. They have no linens. I know that I found out in the Northeast there are some properties that do not offer linens. It needs to have linens, of course. It needs to have all of the cooking tools in the kitchen, and it needs to be in good working condition, right? This again is not a guest that's staying for 2 days. They're staying for months and months at a time. And when they renew their contract with you, guess what? Once they renew, you get to book them through your own direct booking link. And that's something we teach about in the workshop as well, how to create a direct booking site in 5 minutes. I have a little hack for that. But yeah, that's going to be really important because that yields you anywhere from 20 to 30% in revenue without increasing the price on your guests, because you're not going to have all the fees and they're not going to have all the fees. Okay. All right. So I hope that makes sense, guys. Okay. So I think that's all as far as questions are concerned. Again, feel free. I'm going to go ahead and share the link. If you go to the link in my bio, if you're on Instagram, or if you go to shorttermgems.com/links, the first link in there is the link to the webinar. Oh, give me 1 second. 1 second. Interesting. Okay, I just got some type of a code on my phone for whatever reason. Yeah, so shorttermgems.com/links. Yeah, you're gonna get a link to the webinar there, or the masterclass rather. I hope to see you there. Again, I'm going to be going through the entire workflow, step by step, the snapshot of all that it takes, of what those conversations look like with the temporary housing agency, as well as with the guests once they make that inquiry. And I just think it's really important, again, guys, that you all tap into this industry because, again, it is a highly lucrative industry. We have the insurance companies, and if they're listening, I know that in 2021 they had a surplus of over $1 trillion, okay, of surplus, guys. So for those of you who are looking to find a way to extend your stays, for those of you who are battling the elephant in the room, which are regulatory restraints, I ask you to definitely look into midterm rentals, specifically the temporary housing insurance policy holder strategy, which is so important and so amazing. My favorite guests in the world, just they have been amazing, and it's amazing to be able to be impactful on a family whose home just burnt down in a fire, and to host them. They're not staying in a hotel. They get to stay in a home and cook, a great meal, and feel like they're well taken care of. I just think it's absolutely amazing. And so when their homes again are deemed inhabitable, this is where we swoop in. We have an opportunity to host these families. So super grateful to be doing this. Super grateful for all of you who have joined. Uh, but please, if you want more information, join me at this masterclass. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Again, we're going to be talking about how to recession proof your short-term rentals, your properties in this next year. And that is by adding, okay? We're not taking away, we're adding the mid-term rental strategy. It's just such an important strategy. And I know everyone's talking about mid-term rentals, but what's the differentiator? I'll call it a differentiator. But what makes us different, guys, is that the midterm rental strategy that we employ is strictly insurance. We just work with insurance. And again, the reason is that our homes are larger. Okay. And the fact that our homes are larger, we wouldn't be catering to, say, a travel nurse who's looking for just, a place to stay, an individual, like an individual, right? They're looking for a one bedroom. Our midterm rental guests are looking for 3 plus 4 bedrooms, and we're able to provide that for them. Okay. So, again, we're going to be answering some of these questions that are asked on Thursday, again, Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern. I cannot wait to see you guys there. Feel free to join me. The link is below shorttermtrends.com/links. It is $47. I will say this caveat, guys. I know for the last couple of years, we've been doing a lot of free lives and we will continue to do free lives, but we are charging for a few of our workshops as well, just to offset some of the costs for running reports and for getting technical support. So feel free to join and to support the effort and to get some education along the way. It's well worth it. I think you will get your investment back. Being in these rooms, guys, is just absolutely awesome. So again, thank you guys for joining me tonight. Let me make sure I don't have any other questions before I wrap up and head out to dinner. Oh, look, okay, I have a couple questions. Okay, when you decide to direct book the guests on your personal site, are you still getting paid the amount per month from the guest, or are the funds coming from the insurance? The funds always come from the insurance, Tia. Always come from the insurance. Okay. And that's what we talk about as well in the workshop, like how you receive the funds. It always comes from the insurance. Any free trainings out there that you would suggest for being very good at Excel sheets? Oh my gosh. That is a great question. Who is this? Who just asked about Excel? It just says Facebook user. And unfortunately, honestly, Excel is one of those beasts where you you learn it as you use it, right? So you can go to all the trainings in the world and they will show you how to do all of the things. But if you don't use it, if there's not a real utility for it, and this is my opinion, if there's not a real utility for it, then you're going to forget it, right? So you want to use Excel to make your life easier. So the way I trained myself, I actually trained myself on Excel. Monica. The way I trained myself on Excel was I pretty much would run into, say, a roadblock. Like at the hospital, I used to build out the strings for um, the EHR modules. And so, say I had 20,000 lines and I'm looking for all the Tylenols, so I can go through line by line, or it's called record by record or row by row, looking for Tylenol, or I could create a formula that would tell me real quick how many Tylenols are there. And so that's how I learned Excel. It's like, there's got to be an easy way. There's no way I'm going to go through this and look for look through 20,000 lines for all the Tylenols to build those out. And so that's some of how I learned. I learned you can, do a filter or do a sort or create a formula. And so honestly, that's how you get good Excel. So use Excel, figure out, a problem, especially if you have a large number of records that you're working with, or even a smaller number of records that you're working with where you want formulas to kind of populate on other, rows or cells. And then once you know what you want to do, ask Dr. Google. I would suggest ask Google, and you'll get some responses and you can try those out. So it's definitely trial and error until it sticks. All right. So that was a little bit of a tangent. Again, guys, shorttermtrends.com/links. The first link in that bio is the midterm rental insurance masterclass next Thursday. And that's going to be just such a great time. I think just sharing with you guys what exactly it is that we're doing for our properties that are in the suburban areas. All right. So I hope that helps. Oh, looks like we got one more question. Tia, so do you think Tampa is a good market for MTR, STR? It's possible. I don't know the regulations, guys. I don't know the regulations for STR, but yeah, I think it would it would be a great market for MTR. If it's the right property, if it's set up correctly, and if it is not competing with large REITs, it'll make a great property. That is my thought. All right. So hopefully I see you guys next week, and bye-bye for now. Good night, everyone.